folks, welcome back to another episode of Forging Fridays here. Hopefully a pretty quick one. So you might have noticed last week I didn't stream at all. I was actually getting had a pretty bad cold, so I'm still kind of getting over it. Hopefully my voice lasts throughout this episode, but did want to get in. I have been playing some Forge on and off, and once again, in case you don't know, Forge, a Magic the Gathering rules engine, and lets you play single-player, multiplayer games of Magic the Gathering. But let's jump into a deck here, show off another deck, play a few games. Let's get into it. So what we're going to be looking at here today is Infect. Ironic, now I'm getting over a cold. Pretty apropos. And the way that Infect works, we'll just take an Infect creature here and read it off. Infect creatures have Infect, a keyword that says, this creature deals damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters, and to players in the form of poison counters. So poison counters are an alternative form of damage to regular health points. So whereas, a player starts with 10 health points, you slowly tick them down to 0 and then they lose the game. With Infect points, you hit an opponent and they get Infect counters, poison counters, I should say. And if they get 10 poison counters, and they lose the game. That's in any format. So it's a popular one was Triumphs of the Hordes, which give your creatures Infect and Trample and like +1 or something like that. In Commander, because you can swing in and hit people, and all you need to do is 10 damage to your opponent, and then they die, no matter how much life they have, how many Commander damage they've taken. So let's get into it here, and we'll go through some of these Infect creatures first. So this deck is built around you taking a bunch of Infect creatures, swinging in, and buffing them, and doing enough poison, giving enough poison counters to your opponent to defeat them. So let's go through the Infect creatures here. We got Glistener Elf, which is 1 green and a 1/1, and it has Infect. We got Necropede here, which is 2 for an artifact creature, 1/1, has Infect, and when Necropede is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. Useful if you say block 1 creature, you can put another -1/-1 on them when Necropede dies, or put it on another creature. Useful in that regard. Let's see, we also got Ichorclaw Myr. Ichorclaw Myr is 2 for a 1/1 that also has Infect, another artifact creature, and it says when Ichorclaw Myr becomes blocked, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So really, in a case where you're swinging in with it, it's really a 3/3. When it blocks, it's just a 1/1. But good one. Blight Mamba is 1 and a green for another Infect creature that's 1/1, and it has pay 1 and a green to regenerate Blight Mamba. Great in this deck. If you don't have many creatures on the field and you need to block with it, maybe you have enough mana to regenerate it, and it can block and regenerate. And because it has Infect, whenever it blocks something or it swings in and maybe doesn't get through, it still leaves a -1/-1 counter on whatever blocked it, or whatever it's blocking. So, great in that respect. Finally, for our creatures, we got Corpse Cur, which is 4 for a 2/2 with Infect, another artifact creature, and it has, when Corpse Cur enters the battlefield, you may return target creature with Infect from your graveyard to your hand. I've never actually realized it says a target creature with Infect, because all the creatures in this deck do have Infect. So that's great if you're kind of low on creatures and you've lost maybe a couple to blocking or swinging in, maybe not getting through. You can play Corpse Cur, and you get one of these fellas back, and you can play them next turn. Maybe play them even the same turn if you happen to have 5 mana, in that kind of unlikely case. Because I'll let you know, this deck is kind of you want to have a fast hand. You want to be able to finish a game pretty quickly with this deck. So the other source of poison counters is this fella here, Contagion Clasp. It's an artifact for 2 that says, when Contagion Clasp enters the battlefield, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature, and it has pay 4 and tap to proliferate. I've actually found it pretty hard to ever get it to proliferate. You kind of have to have a string of bad luck and just drawing a bunch of lands and a Contagion Clasp. It isn't unlikely, but and then to have it actually be meaningful, you generally want to proliferate when your opponent already has some poison counters on them. I mean, you could, if you swung in with and a creature, you gave a creature a -1/-1, or Contagion Clasp gave a creature a -1/-1, you could certainly use that to get rid of the creature. The other thing to note about Contagion Clasp here is its enter the battlefield trigger here. Put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. That's not a may ability. That's a you have to ability. So if you happen to if you only happen to have one of your creatures on the battlefield, and your opponent has no creatures on the battlefield, you do not want to play Contagion Clasp, because you will end up killing one of your own creatures. Most of your creatures are 1/1s in this deck, so Contagion Clasp will kill any of these fellas here. So how do you win early with this deck? Because you can see these are all 1/1s and a few 2/2s. You have a bunch of buffs that we run in this deck. So we'll start out with the classic here, and kind of a big card for this deck. I don't know if I would call it a bomb, but it is certainly a key card. Rancor, which is 1 for an enchantment aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0 and has trample. When Rancor is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return Rancor to its owner's hand. To note, if your opponent counters Rancor, it will go to the graveyard. It has to go onto a creature before its ability here that if it goes into a graveyard from the battlefield, it's from the battlefield specifically. You can't. If it gets countered, it will go to the graveyard still. But other than that, it's a great card. It buffs these 1/1s, and it gives trample, which is very important for if the opponent has a blocker. You could put it on Ichorclaw Myr, and then suddenly Ichorclaw Myr is a swing. It would be a 5/3 with trample. Your opponent's probably not going to block all of that early in the game. Next we have Giant Growth here. It's 1 for an instant. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. You'll see we run a lot of instants. My suggestion, swing in with your creature. Don't buff it ahead of time. And when it gets to the damage calculation step after your opponent has declared blockers, you know, sometimes the AI will let a 1/1 through, and then you could you know, start throwing, you know, 3 giant growths on your Blight Mamba, and suddenly it swings in for lethal. So I would suggest buffing after, you know, blockers are declared. You know, and the other benefit is if it does, if the opponent does block, you know, it thinks it's blocking a 1/1, suddenly it's blocking a 4/4. Just keep that in mind with all these instants here. Another instant for 1 Groundswell here. I think we're only running one of those. I think we're running one Groundswell. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn, except if you've had a land enter the battlefield this turn, and it gets +4/+4 instead. So you really want to save that Groundswell for when you've played a land. You know, you'd rather use the 1 green mana to get 4 instead of 1 green mana to get 2. Also, 3 Vines of Vastwood. Another instant for 1 green mana. It has Kicker, pay an extra green. And it has a target creature can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control this turn. If Vines of Vastwood was kicked, that creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. This is kind of a multi-use spell here. You can use it to protect your creatures. You know, in the case of a thunderbolt, or I should say a lightning bolt, or you know, some sort of removal. You know, what are those white creatures that exile? You know, any of the white, you know, Oblivion Ring or whatever that might target your creatures. You could Vines of the Vastwood them and protect it. But you do want to, you usually want to save this to pay the 2 for it and give your creature +4/+4 and use it as another pump spell. Final pump spell here. Really, you know, this one's pretty great card in this deck. It's 2 and 1 green, Invigorate for an instant, and it says if you control a forest, rather than pay the spell's mana cost, you may have an opponent gain 3 life. Since we're an Infect deck, we're going to be letting our opponent get as much life as they want. So we're never going to be paying the mana cost for this. And it also has target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn, kind of in line with the Vines of the Vastwood, Groundswell when there's landfall. So a bunch of pump spells. Outside of Vines of the Vastwood for protection, we also run 4 Apostle's Blessing. We're not in white, so even though it's 1 and 1 Phyrexian white mana, it's always going to be 1 and 1 life. 1 and 2 life, I should say. You're always going to be taking 2 for it, because we don't have a way of generating white mana in this deck. But it's an instant, and it says, target artifact or creature you control gains protection from artifacts or from the color of your choice until end of turn. This one, well, you know, you might look at it and say, well, it's the same effect as Vines of the Vastwood. It actually is a little bit better. And not only can you play this at instant speed for instant speed protection from, you know, a lightning bolt, or you know, any of the Oblivion Rings or anything like that. You can also play it at sorcery speed in your first main phase. Say your opponent is in mono black, mono red, has only mono black or mono, you know, or red creatures, you know, whatever color creatures they have out on the field. You can Apostle Blessing one of your creatures here for that color, and it essentially gives it unblockable. So you could pump it, and you know, maybe you don't have your Rancor to give it trample, and maybe you're worried your Blight Mamba might get blocked. So you Apostle Blessing it, basically give it unblockable, swing in, and then pump it to your heart's content for lethal. Final pump spell I should mention here. We also have Pendelhaven. We're in 2 Pendelhavens. This is a legendary land, so legend rule applies. You can only really have out one of them. Usually doesn't impact it because you just play one of the other forests. You tap it for 1 green, like like the forests, or you can tap it to give one of your 1/1 creatures +1/+2 until end of turn. Now, I should mention, you do have to be careful with this, because if you have 1 creature on one of these 1/1s, or the Corpse Cur can never target. Let's say you have a 1/1 and you have a Rancor in hand, and you have out your Pendelhaven. My suggestion is Pendelhaven your creature, and then Rancor it, because once you've Rancored it, it's suddenly not a 1/1 anymore. It's a 3/1, and it can't be targeted by Pendelhaven. So Pendelhaven first if you have a Rancor in hand. Otherwise, once again, what I said before, play your pump spells during the declare blocker stage, and you want to have the stack such that the Pendelhaven activation goes first. So you want to play all of your pump spells and then activate Pendelhaven, so that Pendelhaven can target your creature before all the pump spells go, and make it bigger than 1/1. So I think that's all there is to this deck. Pretty simple. Let's get into a few games, and you can see how it works. Let's jump into it. Alright, so we got some lands, we got some creatures. No real pump spells, but we'll play with it, see how it goes. Corpse Cur, not really what we're looking for. We unfortunately don't have any of the Glistening Elves, so Glistening Elves are great because it's a 1/1, you can immediately get it on the field. Oh, see, now we're in a worse spot here, because now we have this first striker 2/2. So even if I block, we would be able to give it, if I block with this, I would lose the Necropede, but I would be able to put a 1/1 on it when the Necropede dies. No, it tapped it, so I can't even, oh boy, yeah, he's going in for it. Unfortunately not a great deal of, no pump spells yet, so let's get in. You'll see what I'm saying here. So now we're at the declare blocker stage. Pendelhaven it in for that extra 2 damage, and let's play let's play a Necropede, because we do have a 4th land here. So if he swings and kills a Necropede, I think we do. It doesn't have double strike, so we will have blocked it, and we can give it a -1/-1 counter. Oh, it has Exalted too. Okay, we'll let this die, because we can get it back with Corpse Cur next turn. Give him a -1 counter. Oh no. Oh, the goats. Oh, it's going south, folks. I mean, there's all white, and we have this Apostle's Blessing. But once again, we do not have, we're not getting our pump spells. Kind of unlucky. We'll get back our Necropede. I want to swing in with the Necropede. Do we want to swing in with the Necropede? I might save it. Actually, no. Let's swing in with the Necropede. He's gonna block it. Let's get rid of this guy. Yeah. Thin out the board a little bit. Okay. Contagion Clasp. Contagion Clasp is good. Let's Ichorclaw Myr. And let's Contagion Clasp. Okay. And then should be able to swing in. So now opponent has 4 poison counters. This is going a lot slower than we want to. Oh, now. Yeah, he has a 5/5 now. Blue, black, and red. Well, we're not any of those things, so we don't have protection from... Doesn't have protection from us. Ooh. And he taps that. Yeah, this guy's a 5/5. Let's, you know, we'll swing in with this, see what he does. He's blocking. Now, as you can see, it's gonna give it 2/2, but let's pump it. So it'll be yeah, it's gonna be a 4/5. We still lose it, but now we can Contagion Clasp. And this will actually be a pretty big Contagion Clasp. So let's give you one, and you one, you one, and you one. So now he just has a bunch of 0/1 goats. Oh, now they're 1/2 goats. There's protection from black. Do some Necropedes here. Boy. Alright. Yeah, let's swing in with the Corpse Cur. Ah, give it first strike. Yeah, so this is taking a bit too long. Let's block him with this. Okay. +2. Oh. Oh, he has an ability that gives him first strike. Oh, I should have known. I should check. I thought it was a spell he was playing that was giving it first strike. Oh, it's very annoying. Okay. I mean, I think just Contagion Clasp again. Carrying with Contagion Clasp here. Let's Alpha Strike. I think we're winning the race. So it's at 8. Oh, you exile it though. Ugh. Okay. We'll play... Yeah, we'll play 2 Blightsteel Mambas. I guess I could have just Contagion Clasped again and give him another one, but... So you do 1 damage. I guess we'll do that and buff it. Take 1 damage. I guess we're not. I wonder if we can. So we can. Let's. I think we can win it this turn, right? If we. Oh, because he has a... Is this white? It's not white. We could swing in... Let's see how it blocks here. Yeah, I bet it's gonna block both of them. We'll do this. We'll get rid of the goat token. And then we'll regenerate this. Okay. And then we'll play another Blightsteel Mamba. Let it through. It's 2 damage. But now I think we've won it, right? This Alpha Strike. And then this one's unblocked. So we'll use a pump spell on it. And there you go. It was a bit longer and more grindy than I would have wanted. Let's play another one. We'll keep this. Got enough lands. Got a pump spell. Got a couple creatures. As a goblin. Ooh, and now we have trample for this fella. So let's get this guy out here. Okay. Rancor. Alpha Strike. Unblocked. Yeah, let's kicker it. It's now 7 poison. Really gonna... Okay. Alright, well, let's swing in. I was blocking with both of them. Alright, let's start with this guy and that guy. Oh yeah, because of the extra 2. Yeah, it's gonna get through for 2. Oh no! Oh! Oh! It had a Necropede effect. I didn't know that. Well, let's play this Blight Mamba. Oh no, it's gonna... Oh, it took my Rancor! Boo! Alright, this is gonna take longer. Let's regenerate it. This Contagion Clasp. And yeah, I think that should finish it up. Alright, so we'll do another one. One final one. I know we were running a little bit long, but well, we can't run this. We have no lands. Okay. Got some lands. Got a creature, got a couple of pump spells. Let's put back this one forest. And we'll keep that. Alright, let's see. I see it's double blue. Counter spell. I knew it! Ah, this is gonna be one of these games. Let's try Glistener Elf. Counter? Oh, no counter. No counter. Alright. Now I'm a bit concerned here that I gotta have that Apostle Blessing up to give protection from blue. Okay. Let's swing in. And Vines of Vastwood. Giant growth. Yeah, I mean, it can counterspell it. Okay. See, now this is the thing you have to worry about. I can't play Contagion Clasp right now because it will kill my Glistener Elf. So let's... Blight Mamba? Okay. I assume it still has a counterspell in hand. How about a Necropede? Can I play Necropede? Okay. Opponent just not play. That's their plan, just to counter everything. Okay. Well, if they don't have some kind of answer here, we're gonna. Okay. I kind of want to. What did he have in his hand? Oh. How do I see his? What do you have in your hand? Fact or fiction? Force of will. Yeah, just a bunch of counters, things to dig through their library. Okay. Alright. Well, folks, I guess that was a good showing of the deck. It definitely can be faster than the games that I showed it off here. One thing I do want to note, I did build this deck very early when I was building decks. I might have stripped some lands out of it, and sometimes I find that I end up have want for lands, even though it is a very low mana deck. As far as the deck is concerned, maybe consider adding some lands to it, stripping out maybe some of the buffs or some of the creatures. But yeah, I feel like that was a good. That was a decent showing of it, and you can kind of see how that deck plays. So we'll call it there. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Forging Fridays, and I'll see you next time. Adios.